hopefully y'all can see me. Hey y'all, it's your girl Nee. I'm back at it again with another video. I know I have not been posting consistently. I'm going to start posting consistently. Just a lot of things unfortunately has been going on. Some things I cannot control, some things I can control. As y'all can see on the title of this video, this walk with God is not easy. In the beginning, I had an encounter with God, but it's not like a lot of people how they describe their encounter with God. So first I was in a cult. That was in 2021, 2022, mid 2022. And I had my first encounter with God when it came to, I was literally leaving, because me and my brothers, we used to live together. And I forgot what the name of the house is called. I forgot. I guess a trailer. It's not a trailer home. I forgot what it's called. But anyway, yeah, so we lived together. And things were falling apart. Things was not going as good. But then I ended up moving out, moving back home, moving back with my mom as I'm living here now. And on my way home, because we had to go back, the last thing we had to go do was go get my car and to drive it here. And when I drove it here, on the way home, I kid y'all not, mind y'all, I don't even believe I was listening to gospel music. At that time, I probably was, but I probably wasn't. No, I really wasn't. I know I was. But at that moment, I believe I was listening to Kirk Franklin. It was A Brighter Day. But the song had ended, so I was just driving the rest in silence. And when I look up in the sky, I saw clouds. Because mind you, I was 5 minutes away from my home. Where I live in, from my house where I live at now. I was 5 minutes away, and I was at a stop sign. Not at the stop sign, but at a red light. And I look up to my right, and I looked in the clouds, and I saw prayer hands. That's where the prayer hands came from, the design, the T prayed up. And I kid you not, I started bursting in tears. I was bursting in tears. I could not stop crying. It didn't affect me driving, but it could have gotten to that point. And when I tell you, I felt the living God on me. And I got home, and my mom was following me. And we got home, and I was telling her and my grandmother what I saw. And I don't even know if I have the picture. I probably don't, but yeah. If I have the picture, I'll put it somewhere in this video. But yeah. So after that, but mind you, y'all, I was still into tarot cards. And I was listening to this girl because she was talking about how she believed in God. But she was still doing tarot card readings. I really still, to this day, didn't understand that. But anyway, yeah, so I was still doing tarot cards. But it was to a point where, mind y'all, this is around August. I would say around the ending of September, I threw those cards away. I threw all my witchcraft stuff. I threw it all in the garbage. Did nobody convince me? I literally just threw them in the garbage. For some odd reason, I was not feeling right. It just wasn't feeling right for me to keep doing it, keep watching her videos, and keep doing the same stuff. Like, it just didn't feel right to me. I don't know what it was. It had been God, but I didn't know what it was. I just threw all my stuff away. Crystals, this type of rose water, certain herbs, sage. I threw that all away. Mind you, this stuff was brand new or whatnot. I threw it all away. And the moment I threw it all away, I'm not gonna say, because life was happening regardless, but I was working at a job, and mind you, I was listening to her the whole entire time while I was listening. After that, I was still working at my job, and I was getting so tired of working at that job. I was getting so tired of working there. And I wasn't even working there that long. I was just so tired because I was working every day, overtime. I was so tired of that job just in general. And I remember I was in my grandmother's car, and this was before the time I was getting my car fixed and stuff like that. And I was driving my grandmother's car. I didn't even go to work that day. I cried to the Lord, and I think I was doing DoorDash or something. And I cried to the Lord, and I said, Lord, I don't want to work for nobody. I want to work for you. And I want to work for myself. I cried and was saying that because I was so tired. Mind you, I didn't even know what I was really saying, just to be honest. And so my job released me around that time. I just started doing DoorDash full time, having my own hours, listening to gospel, reading the word. Mind you, this was 2022. In January 2023, I was watching this other girl live. Her name is Alexis Ada. And I was watching her lives. And her lives really spoke to me. But mind you, I was watching her lives before I even left my job. I was just watching her lives. And I don't know what happened around that time, but I just started watching her. Not all of them, but some of her lives. And then I started gravitating to more people who are with Christ, who are in this walk with Christ, who have devoted themselves, surrendered themselves to the Lord, accepting Lord Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. And then she was doing this conference. It was a Zoom conference. I believe it was by Beautifully Made Ministry. And that was what it was called at the time. And it was a Zoom. And it was Proverbs 31 woman. Keep in mind, y'all, I was screenshotting books that I wanted to read. I was screenshotting fasts that I wanted to do. I don't know none of this stuff. Kid y'all not. I don't know nothing about fasting. Like, I don't know really nothing much about any of this stuff, really. And, but these are the things I wanted to do. Mind y'all, this how I knew it was the Lord. And so, it was $30 to, do the Zoom, join the Zoom conference. So, I paid $30 and I did the Zoom conference. And, beautiful, powerful conference. The women that were speaking, this is how I met my best friend now, Jayla. And, because it was her ministry, Beautifully Made Ministries. And she she held the conference and whatnot. And when I tell y'all, powerful women speaking, we were learning about God. I was learning a lot. Yeah, so around that stuff, all that stuff was happening. And then after it was over, I ended up joining her community. Now, she changed the name to her community Sister Fellowship. God led her to change that name to Sister Fellowship. But she was my mentor. She started being my mentor, I'll say around, it was either March. She started being my mentor. But keep in mind, y'all, I was still unfortunately having sex, but not like that to the point where it just wasn't, I was going to Atlanta doing work, traveling or whatnot. Well, I wouldn't even say work, to be honest. I don't know. But anyway, that's another story. Around that time, and I was having a really hard time. When I say I was DoorDashing every day, I was DoorDashing every day. That was the way of me making money. To provide, to have things, to pay rent, stuff like that. And then, I kid y'all not, towards the end of March, I wasn't able to DoorDash. DoorDash discontinued my account. But beforehand, I was crying because I'm like, Lord, I need money. This was around January. I was like, Lord, at the end of, towards like November, December, I'm like, Lord, I need money. This is 2022. So I was like, Lord, I need money. I need to figure out what I was going to do. And something clicked in my head. I was like, I'm just get up and do DoorDash. And I started doing DoorDash and whatnot. But then in March, I could not do DoorDash. They had discontinued my account. They had closed my account because it was too much authentication. And keep in mind, y'all, I went to jail around this time for a suspended license. Not around this time, but in 2022. I had went to jail. I had a warrant for my arrest because of a suspended license. I was driving without a suspended license and whatnot. And so I guess, which that record, I pray to Jesus that it's been cleared because it wasn't supposed to affect me, for one. Paid all the money and stuff like that, whatnot. But okay, let's go back to where I was at. So in March, they discontinued my account because they saying that record was up. Why? I don't know. It was supposed to be not in the system, but whatever. So I was crying. I was trying to figure out, Lord, what is going on? Mind y'all. So April came. I applied for unemployment in the beginning of April. And I did the whole whatnot. I had to wait for, whatever. So, mind y'all, I cried for 2 days. And I just said, I'm just going to sketch. I'm going to draw designs and things like that. I'm also reading. That was the very first time I decided to open up my Bible and read the word. When I tell you I was reading the word morning, noon, and night, I kid you not, for the whole month of April. My mind wasn't even focused on stuff that was going on. It wasn't. And I still had some money left over to, buy stuff that I need to get. But around that time, I was reading my word for the whole month. Sketching and reading my word. That's all I was doing. That's all I was doing. And that was from April all the way to May. I was getting so tired. I was praying. I was like, Lord, if you can provide a way for me to have some finances for me to provide, to pay for rent and be able to provide for myself. I kid y'all not. That last week of that month of May, I applied for a job the third week on a Thursday. This lady called me on a Friday. I wasn't going to answer it, nor I wasn't going to take the job. But I took it anyway. Because something in my spirit just felt like, just go ahead and just take it. It can't be bad. And then I started working the next week, the last week of May. But before I even started working, y'all, that week, unemployment fell through in May. Mind you, I didn't know the money was on there this whole entire time. I just kept recertifying. I didn't know the money was on here until that last week before I started working. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I started working. I was working very, very hard, y'all. But I was in my word. I was a part of a community, sister fellowship, and I had a mentor. So when I say I was devoted to God. I was devoted. This was the beginning of my walk. I was a baby Christian then. I would say, as time was going, I was working at a job, but the job I was working at, not saying it was a bad job, but I was also tired. I was working my butt off, doing overtime, being there every day, never really missed a day. And then I would say not even mid, but around June, my great-grandmother had passed. That was a lot. So we went down south to go and, for the funeral and things like that. Then we came back. Y'all, stuff was just not like and then also I started to do content. I was barely being able to do content. I don't know what, it was just, I was working so much. I couldn't barely do content. I was trying so hard to record. I started recording vlogs. I was having a hard time. And then this was around the time that I was also starting my clothing line as well. I would say this is around like August. It was just, I was doing so much to the point where I couldn't catch a break. I was like doing so much. But mind you, at work, y'all, I kid y'all not. So the lady was being promoted to being a supervisor. She needed a backup supervisor. I was supposed to be the backup supervisor. But come to find out, they ended up hiring somebody from outside to be the backup supervisor. So that made me mad and made me upset. But I still kept going to work. I still didn't mind. But there was another department. It's an easier department. I worked over there a few times when it was short staff and whatnot. Or when we didn't have any work on our department. And this man, the supervisor over there, he was watching me. He has been watching me this whole entire time. And we just started talking out of nowhere. And I remember, I would say around the end of August, beginning of September, he told me, it was a conversation between him and his backup supervisor, who was eventually ended up being a supervisor, because he was what is it called for the older people? What is it called for the older people when they leave? I'm talking to y'all like y'all can answer me. Retirement. He was retiring. But he was like, yeah, we've been watching you, both of them. I went over there to their department because they went to talk. They was like, yeah, we've been watching you this whole entire time. We like that you come in every day. We wanted to know if you want to be a backup supervisor over here. I said, yeah, I didn't even question, but I have to be hired in. Keep in mind, y'all, I was having difficulty because the agency, it was so many hours you had to work in order to be hired in full time. I was supposed to be hired full time in September. They didn't hire me full time until October. Mind y'all, the last day I was in that department, they tried, first of all, the supervisor, she didn't want to say nothing because she didn't want me to actually leave, because I was always doing the hard part, all of the hard work over there. So, and I was getting tired of doing it, to be honest, and I felt like I was being neglected and overlooked. But anyway, that was the point. But come to find out, I wasn't being overlooked. I was being promoted to somewhere else. to an easier department. I really didn't have to do as much hard work. I love them to this day. Their names were Steve, Dan, and Chuck. Love those guys. Love, 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 love them. But anyway, so I end up getting into that department the first week of October. Been over there, loved it ever since, never had a complaint. We always went to lunch. When I tell you I was having a ball, but it was still giving a little bit of lukewarmness on my part. Because I was engaging in certain conversations that I know I needed not to be engaged in. So I was trying so hard not to engage in certain conversations, but also trying not to be rude or whatnot. And then the end of October, I joined a community here in my hometown in Michigan called Crown Queens. Love, 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 love them. I joined them. And the first day I went, I was honestly nervous the first day I had went, but I felt God's presence in that room like never before. And I met friends. My friend from college, like she was there as well. Like she's really, really close friends to the, I guess, ministry owner, the one that, you know, God gifted her with this ministry. And I just loved it ever since, and I was so glad it was in my hometown. But y'all, I kid y'all not, and then when November came, my birthday had passed and whatnot, I was gifted a camera by my best friend Jayla. We became best friends, and mind y'all, around Thanksgiving time, that was really our last day of being a mentor, because not only she felt it in her spirit, but I also felt in my spirit that there was no point of me having her mentor me, because the weeks, it was like I kept missing a week, and it wasn't purposely, but it was a purpose. It was a reason for it. If y'all catch me. But yeah, so around this time, Tiffany Montgomery was doing the Year of the Bride fast. This was the fast I wanted to do. I had screenshotted it the end of 2022 or the end of 2022. And I screenshotted the book that I wanted to read, which was this book here. Y'all, I don't know nothing about this. I kid y'all not, but I really wanted to read this book. I don't know. I kid y'all, I'm not making this up. I did not know nothing about this book, nothing about this author, nothing. I didn't even know anything about Tiffany Montgomery or Jenny, I forgot her name. I didn't know nothing. Nada, zilch, okay? But I told the Lord I really want to start reading books. That was my very first book. My very first book. And but she was doing the Year of the Bride fast literally the next day after Thanksgiving. And I was able to do the Year of the Bride fast. I kid y'all not, the first week, Lord, I like to just, it was heavy. Okay, it was heavy. But by that second week, and I believe she was talking about abortions. I had an abortion in 2017. I've always had this cramping, sincere, strong, sharp pain since 2017 up until 2023. When she talked about it and described it, I kid you not, I like to fall on the floor. Because all this time I was trying to figure out, why am I having these sharp pains still? Mind you, I'm not keeping in mind. I'm going to the doctors asking what's going on. They don't even know what was going on. She was literally describing the same thing I was going through. And I kid you not, I didn't know nothing about a demonic spirit called Moloch. I didn't know about a demonic god about Moloch, how he sacrificing babies is what they used to do to get what they need to get or what they wanted. Because mind y'all, I had an abortion because of the fact that I felt like I couldn't provide for my child. I felt like I couldn't be a mother, and also I wanted a career first before I wanted children. And I wasn't even there yet. So that's why I aborted my child. But yeah, y'all, that fast is so powerful. I'm thinking I'm fasting because I wanted to be married. I was fasting, and I don't even know, I was fasting to be not only delivered, to be saved, but to also break covenants, to break curses in my bloodline. I learned so much during this fast. I don't know what else to tell people. I learned a lot from this fast, and I felt very free from it. But I will say, y'all, this whole process was not easy. I'm thinking it's going to get easier. But mind y'all, keep in mind, when I said I wanted to work for the Lord and work for myself, I didn't realize what I was asking, because when I asked, I thought all my problems was going to go away. That's what I thought. I kid you not. I thought all my problems was going to go away. I was going to be wealthy. My business was going to be successful. I wasn't going to have any problems. I wasn't going to have to suffer. I wasn't going to have to struggle. That's why I did say that. So after that had happened, I was also planning for New York Fashion Week as well. And in December, I was watching this. Mind you, I've been watching Ashley Hetherington, Deborah, a lot of Christian content creator girlies, Holy Girl Diaries, just stuff like that. And Deborah was talking about, there was an episode how she left her job. God told her to leave her job. And I'm not paying it no mind. I kid you not, I'm not paying it no mind. It's like the third or fourth time I watched it, God was telling me to do the same thing. And I'm just like, Lord, I'm not doing that. I kid you not, I told her I'm not doing that. You want me to leave my job, knowing that I have to pay rent, I have to have food, I have to have hygiene products, I have to have all these things, Lord. My phone has to be paid for. You want me to leave my job when you just blessed me with this? You really want me to do that? Y'all, it was a yes. He wanted me to do that. And I was really having, and I just said, okay, I'm just going to leave my job. I haven't even been fully promoted. I was about to be promoted because I was being trained. I had to tell them literally in February. Just the end of February was my last week there. Y'all, since January, stuff was going downhill of this year. Stuff was happening. When I tell you spiritual warfare was happening, it has been happening since the beginning of this year. And there has been more not arguments, but a lot has been just happening this year that I thought differently about. There has been a lot of, I wouldn't say confrontation, but I would say confrontation. There has been times where the enemy has been using family to go against my decision. Not even my decision, the decision I chose because of God. Leaving my job. Being without. Phone being off. My phone is still off to this day. My phone is not, I'm not able to call or do anything. It's just been a lot this year. A lot of pruning. A lot of stretching. When I tell y'all, this walk has not, and I'm not a baby Christian anymore. Literally since January hit, a lot of stuff just has been going downhill. And I understand why God has allowed it to happen. But God has been breaking and shedding things off of me. Especially being chosen to be a generational curse breaker in my family. Again, this walk is not easy. It has been when I tell y'all, it's been very hard. And it's been very hard to the point where my faith was decreasing. Because I was so dependent and faithful on a job and myself being at that job to provide for myself. Now this time, I truly have to allow God to provide for me. And y'all, I kid y'all not, it's not easy. You think you trust God until you truly have to rely on Him for everything. Everything. You have to truly rely on Him for everything. And not just being an entrepreneur. I mean everything. When I came back from New York, I knew things were not going to be the same. But I also knew, I'm not saying bad was going to happen, but I just knew that this walk was not going to be easy. But I didn't think it was going to be this difficult. And I know I'm not by myself. It's just been very difficult too. God has been really testing my faith. You ask God When you ask God to help you with your faith, baby, it's not going to be what you think the test is going to be like. It's totally different. You really have to rely on God. You really have to rely on Jesus to give you the strength for everything. I would say I would say mid-May. I was supposed to drop, no, April I was supposed to drop my clothing line. I was having a hard time. I'm going to show y'all some clips of what was going on. I really got the camera and I'm trying not to. I was on the computer for hours. I have prayed. I have worshipped. Today was supposed to be the day of my launch today. I had a hard time. Stuff was just falling apart. Keep in mind, y'all, I'm thinking in my mind, me selling my clothes was going to be my financial breakthrough. It wasn't. I was so upset to the point where I said, no, I give up. I'm not doing this no more. There were times where, and then in May, that's when I finally dropped my clothing line. I only made one sale. One. I was heartbroken. First of all, God gave me a price to sell these things. I didn't follow direction. Because in my mind, I'm like, Lord, I don't even think these is worthy enough to even sell for that price. So I was being disobedient. Stuff just kept falling apart. So in June, I filed for unemployment, as y'all saw in the previous vlogs. And it's been a process with that. But y'all, it's August. I kid y'all not, this whole time, not only God has been breaking, shedding, removing, but also God has been showing things that are hidden. And the reason why, again, He's still teaching me to rely on Him, to have faith in Him. And it stems from, and the reason why I had a hard time, I had a hard time in believing God is because, or having faith in Him is because there were times where in my life as a child, my dad wasn't there for me. And the times where I felt like I needed Him or wanted Him to be. And there were relationships I was in. And I believed and wanted these men that I was in a relationship with to, I needed them for certain things and wanted them to be there for certain things. They were never there. I compared them to God. And I don't know why, but because God is, I didn't know how to receive God's love. I didn't know how. I always just settled for what was given to me by my dad and by these men that I used to date. Even when I was treated wrongly. But I still loved them anyway. God has been telling me I'm not them. Those are my sons. I still love them. You still have to love them for who they are. And I'm not saying these men, I don't know. I don't know if they've grown up. Not grown up, but what am I trying to say, Lord? Like, I still love them anyway. I still love, and then it's like my dad has been showing up for me. And it's like I couldn't understand as younger why certain things couldn't. Why he couldn't be there for me then as much as I wanted him to. But I appreciate him showing up for what he, tried to do. And then when it comes to past relationships, I didn't value myself as I should have. I just allowed these things that these men that I have dated, how they treated me, and I accepted it. Because that's what I wanted. I wanted to receive a certain love, but I just received any type of love from them. Weird. I don't know why women do that, but I know why, because we haven't really accepted or know how to receive God's love or build that relationship with God first in order for us to know how and what love to receive. But also just receive it unconditionally. I was receiving unconditional love from them. But I forgive them though. I'm like, the Lord has put me in this process of forgiving these men of how they treated me and how my dad treated me. Yeah, and also, and it's not just them, certain things that I have done, and meaning allowing certain behaviors and just certain things in general. But I also have forgiven them. And I said this year, previous months before, I was like, God, I forgive them. And God was showing me, like, you have not forgiven them. You have not. I haven't at that time. Because if you did, you wouldn't feel a certain reaction, or you wouldn't cave in, or you wouldn't get any feeling. You wouldn't get any feeling whatsoever. And so, where I'm at now, in this walk with God, like he said in his word, love is patient and love is kind. God is love. God has been very patient with me and teaching me how to be patient with him. And just to love and just to be gradual. And I like where the space I am in, even though there are things that I am truly relying on God to come through for me for. And I'm still waiting, but he says I have the victory for it. But I appreciate the Father for giving me peace. He's giving me peace. He's giving me joy. I'm still able to have a peace of mind. And I'm not saying I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm where I need to be. And I love where I'm at and where I'm going. And to others it may look like, why don't you just go get a job, or why don't you go and do these things? It's like, I have. And I'm getting rejected every time. I'm getting a no every time. Because God has something else for me. And I kid y'all not, it's going to sound crazy. But God has been providing for me in so many ways. Not only just through my mother, not only just through friends and family, just in general. And God has been showing me that I can trust him, that he can come through. And he always will come through for me at his timing, because his timing is right. But right now, God is really just cleaning my heart and preparing my heart for things. He's preparing me spiritually for things. And people. Yeah, so I am learning a lot with God right now. I will say I am at peace. Like, I know and it's like I know storms are always going to come. But I know I can persevere and overcome them. Because I have my Father, I have Jesus, who is guiding me through in each and every way. So, if anyone is in this same place or a similar place, where you have to truly rely on God for literally everything, have faith. Trust God's timing. Trust God, knowing that he knows what he is doing, because he does. He knows what he's doing. He knows what we need. He knows what we want. We have to seek him, but we cannot worry. He does not want us to worry. And God is teaching me that I don't have to worry, nor keep everything inside. Also having burdens, I can give it to him and continue to move on. Especially because we are his child. You know how children, they don't really have to worry. They don't have to worry about a lot of things. They don't have to worry because they're a child and they know their parents want to take care of them. That's how God wants us to be. He wants us to be like that. We just have to just truly remember that we are doing the will of God. That God has given us a purpose. And the only way we can know what our purpose is we fully surrender unto him. And trust that he's going to take care of us during the surrendering. So yeah, I love y'all. I pray and hope that this not only motivates you, but get you closer to God. Continue to be in your word. Continue to be with him. Continue to be in his word. Continue to be in a secret place with him. Fasting, praying, being obedient. Yeah, so I love y'all. And I pray that y'all have a blessed, blessed day.